Wolves nil, Manchester United 1, and there you have it, guys. Hard fought, well deserved victory for Manchester United, and your boy Rashford is back. Listen, I'm not one to quickly say someone is back after scoring one goal, but I can say Rashford has definitely improved under Ten Hag, and he's continued to improve. What a goal. He's come on in the second half and rescued the game, saved Man United. Wolves are a bogey team. Man United do not do well against Wolves, let's be honest. But Rashford, when it mattered, he came up trump and scored the vital goal. We are going to get into it. It was not a pretty game. It wasn't a pretty game. We started slowly, first half and second half, but we got the win in the end. We are going to discuss it here. What is there to discuss? We're going to discuss a lot of things, guys. Once again, Shaw starting ahead of Maguire. What do you guys make of that? Let's get into it. Martial's performance, Antony's performance, the performance of the front line in general. Also, the fact that Ten Hag disciplined Rashford, and that's why he didn't start. And we're going to have to talk about that because I think that's a good thing. Discipline is always a good thing, and I like the fact that Ten Hag does not care who you are, you play by the rules, or you're out. So much to get into, guys. Like I said, it wasn't the greatest game, but we're still going to talk about it.
Maguire plays football slowly. He takes 2 or 3 touches when he has the ball at the back. He doesn't really play one touch. He's very ponderous on the ball and off the ball, as we can all see. He can't play with a high line. We always refer to the fact that he plays well for England and he plays okay for England, but international football is much slower. But I'm glad to see that no matter who you are, if you do something wrong, if you do not abide by the rules, you will suffer the consequences. We saw it with Ronaldo. Ten Hag was firm, and we're seeing it with Rashford. There's consistency and there is standards, and that's something that is needed for a long time at Manchester United, and I applaud Ten Hag for that. Already making up Garnacho songs. Let's just relax a little bit, guys. He's only started a few games. We've only seen glimpses of him. He has a lot to learn. He looks like just a silkier version of Elanga, a spicy version of Dan James. So the cohesion in the attack and the midfield is an issue. And while Eriksen isn't a big problem for Manchester United, I'm finding that the last 3 or 4 games, and this is before the World Cup, Eriksen's performances have been falling off. And now that he's playing alongside Casemiro rather than Scott McTominay, and Casemiro for me right now he has been the best DM in the world for a few years, but he's our best midfielder, Casemiro, and he's making everyone look very average right now. It's a very, very intelligent game. Rashford cannot play up front on his own because he cannot hold the ball up. He is getting better at some aspects of his game. He's using both feet to shoot. I see that he's heading the ball more than he's ever done before. And not only is he doing that, he's scored a few goals from his head, good goals from his head this season. So there are parts of it. And there's an inconsistency in that rule. If I'm a striker and I shoot and you're a defender and it hits your hand while your hand's tucked in, I don't get given a penalty. But if the ball hits me and it's about to hit my chest, but it hits my hand, but my hand's still stuck into my chest, right? That is a free kick.
If you're not... As usual, before we begin, smash the like, turn on the notification, and as usual, subscribe below. Grab yourself a tea. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, all of these things. It's cold out here, but football is back to warm us up. Mint tea. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. So yes, Wolves nil, Man United. Okay, now.
Sorry, guys. Wolves nil, Man United 1. Let's get into the starting lineup. What do you guys think of the starting lineup? Once again, no Maguire. No Maguire in the starting lineup. And let's be honest, if he's fit enough to be on the bench, both him and Lindelof, He's fit enough to start. And at this stage, Maguire is almost fourth choice centre back. I mean, right now he's fifth choice centre back. And I mean, I think it's time for Maguire to think about his future. He does not fit into the way we want to play. He doesn't have the required pace, and that's just it. The speed, and not just speed in terms of physicality, but Maguire plays football slowly. He takes 2 or 3 touches when he has the ball at the back. He doesn't really play one touch. He's very ponderous on the ball and off the ball, as we can all see. He can't play with a high line. We always refer to the fact that he plays well for England and he plays okay for England, but international football is much slower than the Premier League. The Premier League is paid at an enormous pace, and if you want to play with a high line, squeeze the team, right? Squeeze the opposition. The way that Lisandro Martinez steps in or steps out from the back and drives forward, Maguire can't do that. So I think Maguire, I mean, having Maguire as a sub, yes, from Manchester United's perspective, that would be a good thing. But I don't think he'd want to do that. And I probably think he should look for another club. Also, Rashford was not playing today, or he didn't start today because of a disciplinary issue. And it's an internal disciplinary issue. Erik ten Hag did not make anyone or did not let the public know what the issue was. But I'm glad to see that no matter who you are, if you do something wrong, if you do not abide by the rules, you will suffer the consequences. We saw it with Ronaldo. Ten Hag was firm, and we're seeing it with Rashford. There's consistency and there is standards, and that's something that is needed for a long time at Manchester United, and I applaud Ten Hag for that. We did miss Rashford today, and I'm Rashford's one of his biggest critics. I am. For 2 years, last 2 years, he's been very, very inconsistent, and everybody has been. Let's be honest. Most players have been inconsistent over the last 2 years, but none more so than Rashford. And he's had a lot of people defend him. But me, I'm somebody who literally sees or says it as I see it. If someone's not playing well, I'll say they're not playing well. And if they're playing well, I say they're playing well. No agendas, no bias. Just say what you see, not how you feel. That's my biggest quote when it comes to football. Look, say what you see. Don't say how you feel. Because you can feel something and see something different. A player could have a bad game, but you feel really good, and then you come out of the match saying, oh, this player has a really good game. And I'm thinking, what game are you watching? You felt good when the player had the ball. You felt some dopamine getting released to your brain. But what you actually saw was crap. He did not have a good game. So I'm not talking about Rashford here, per se. I'm just talking about football in general. Let's just say what we see rather than how we feel when it comes to analysing this damn game, yeah? Anyway, starting lineup, almost the same starting lineup as the game before. Like I said, the only difference is Garnacho started instead of Rashford, which is fine. I still think we need to relax when it comes to assessing or analysing Garnacho's game. A lot of us are singing songs, already making up Garnacho songs. Let's just relax a little bit, guys. He's only started a few games. We've only seen glimpses of him. He has a lot to learn. He looks like just a silkier version of Elanga, a spicy version of Dan James so far. Let's just not big him up so soon. That's something that we do too quickly. Anytime we see a youngster coming through, he's going to be the next thing, and he's the best thing, and he's this and he's that. Today, we saw, once again, a kid who has a lot to learn up here. His footballing brain also needs a lot of development. He's got time. He's young and time is on his side. But the first team, Bruno, Casemiro, Eriksen midfield, Martial once again starting up front. He needs to keep starting more games. He needs to get his fitness up. We need Martial. We do not have enough strikers. Rashford cannot play up front on his own. We've seen that many times. We need Martial. We do not have another striker, and it doesn't look like we're going to get another striker in January. So Martial, wrap him in cotton wool. He started today, had a decent game. I'm decent, like I said, the lineup for me, same lineup almost as the game before. I'm fine with the lineup. Antony on the right, and of course, like I said, Garnacho on the left, the same back four. Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well on the right, whose last 3 games, let's be honest, even though he doesn't seem like he has a future at Man United, the last few games, Aaron Wan-Bissaka has played decently. Still looks sometimes clumsy on the ball, still, for me, lacks some football fundamentals and some technicalities of his game. But one thing you can't say about Aaron Wan-Bissaka is that he's lazy or anything like that. Aaron puts in a shift, always puts in a shift. So yeah, game. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game itself. First 10 minutes, nothing was happening. First 10 minutes, all I saw was Wolves moving the ball very comfortably. Neves in the midfield just dominating our midfield. And I thought to myself, first 10 minutes I noticed that neither team were pressing. We weren't pressing Wolves. We were sort of standing off them. They weren't pressing us. They were standing off us. But both teams were cagey. There weren't a lot of chances in the first 10 minutes. No team were pressing and nothing was really happening. And it was a very boring first 10, 15 minutes until Semedo's back pass on the 16th minute, which led to Garnacho having a chance and Garnacho's right foot miss around 16 minutes. And as soon as he missed, Twitter exploded. And that's what I'm saying. Garnacho had good moments today, but I heard the commentator say that he's a great youngster, brilliant footballer. And I'm like, let's just relax with the kid. Let him play his football, you know? But genuinely in the first half, there wasn't a lot to report. There wasn't a lot to report on in this game. It was 2 teams, like I said, neither team pressing. The midfield couldn't really get a hold of the game. The back four were just passing it to each other. We had another chance around, I think, the 36th minute where Malacia overlapped Garnacho. Garnacho fed Malacia, who crossed to Antony. And I think Anthony Martial, he missed the header. And let's be honest, Anthony Martial should have probably scored that. And then the ball fell to Antony, and the ball was only like this low. The ball was basically at foot height for Antony, and he decided to header it. I do think he was offside though, but I thought to myself, when the ball came across, I think it was Garnacho who played the ball across, and the ball was at foot high for Antony. Why did he decide to header it? Sometimes, and Antony didn't play badly today, and you're always going to get opposition fans who go in on Antony for whatever reason, and there'll always be fans who go in, and it's always the sort of Paul Pogba's, the Antonys, the Sanchos, those sort of maverick flair players that excite you, that do things off the cuff. United fans have a dislike for those players, and I don't know what it is. Technical ballers, really, really technical ballers. A lot of United fans don't like it, and I think it's a brainwashing. I think it's a brainwashing of how we in this country see football. We don't like flair. We don't like individual expression. We want everyone to be the same. Be quiet. You know, don't stand out. Don't stop standing out. You know, and people like Pogba, people like Antony, they stand out from all of us. They stand out from the crowd. And there's something about that, I think, that, I don't know, the way we see football in this country. You know, the Antony skill. After Antony did the skill, everyone in this country was like, oh my God, how dare he? I'm like, what? How dare he do a skill? He's been paid to entertain us. Football is an entertainment business first and foremost. We need these things. We need these, otherwise we'll be full. Otherwise football will just be a game or sport of system ballers with no flair, no skill, just everyone trying to score. And that is boring. So anyway, it was a miss. It was a silly miss. But I think that miss I'm talking about, where Martial missed and then Antony missed, was around the 45th minute mark. The miss before that was when Antony tried to shoot with his left foot. So Antony had a few chances in that game. I'm just saying, once again, with Antony, let's not join opposition fans. Yeah, let's not join opposition fans and ruin this guy's confidence. Because that's all United fans do. We destroy the confidence of our best footballers by by coming at them or going at them when they're having bad games. Players are going to have bad games and players are going to have good games. Say it when they have bad games. Criticize them when they have bad games. And when they have good games, praise them. That's all you can do. Anyway, first half, I'm literally struggling to find any form of analysis with the first half. But let's say that United's transition from defence to attack in the first half was non-existent. I like the fact that Martial drops deep, but for Martial to drop deep and link the play, he needs runners off him. The runners off him in the first half weren't running or making the right runs. There still needs to be work done with the cohesion of the attack. We're not scoring goals, and we are creating chances though, but we're not scoring enough goals. But we can create more chances. The cohesion in the attack and the midfield is an issue. And while Eriksen isn't a big problem for Manchester United, I'm finding that the last 3 or 4 games, and this is before the World Cup, Eriksen's performances have been falling off. And now that he's playing alongside Casemiro rather than Scott McTominay, and Casemiro for me right now he has been the best DM in the world for a few years, but he's our best midfielder, Casemiro, and he's making everyone look very average right now. He rarely loses the ball. He passes it very well, 2-footed when he passes the ball. He's basically a mixture of Carrick with the passing almost, and like maybe Kante with the way he covers the space and wins the ball back. But yeah, first half, let's just move on to second half. Rashford came on in the second half for Garnacho. That was the right thing to do. Like I said, whatever disciplinary... Sorry about that, guys. Whatever disciplinary Garnacho, or should I say Rashford had, he didn't make the starting lineup. He was punished. He comes on in the second half, changes the game. He offers more directness than Garnacho. Of course, he knows what he's doing. He's more experienced than Garnacho. So some of the decisions that Garnacho was making, he didn't make. And straight away, I think he made a difference. The one thing I could say that we started, like I said, both halves very sloppily. We didn't play that well in the first half anyway, but we started it sloppily. And we started the second half sloppily as well. And it's something that I do notice that we do. Around the 52nd minute, I remember Antony and Bruno both having a shot. So we started getting better. Bruno had a free kick. When's the last time Bruno scored a free kick? And why isn't Eriksen taking free kicks for us? I don't know. But Bruno had a free kick. I think if he stacked another goal on top, he still wouldn't have scored. And like a minute later, Neves had a free kick. And Neves' free kick was further out, but he made De Gea work. He forced a save out of De Gea. And I'm thinking, look at Neves. Look at Neves' ability to pass the ball. Neves is such a good passer of the ball. I just wish we had someone like Neves in our team. I know Casemiro, we've got Casemiro now, but Bruno needs to come off free kicks and stop shooting. That's all I know. Please, Bruno. Eriksen came off for Fred as well, which is quite interesting because like I said earlier on in this video, Eriksen's performances have been deteriorating game after game. He started the season badly, 4-0 against Brentford. He got better. For me, he was our best player for about 3-4 matches straight. Then Casemiro started getting into his mojo, getting into his swing of things. And Casemiro has been the guy for me for the last 4 or 5 games now. And Eriksen has fallen off. He's more invisible. He's not taking control of the game as he did before. We're not monopolised possession, or we didn't monopolise a lot of possession today. Maybe that's why Eriksen and people like Donny are footballers that are better on the ball, of course, than off the ball. But still, I still want more from Eriksen. And I'm glad that he came off for Fred around the 60th minute mark. Fred was everywhere when he came on. And that's what you're always going to see from Fred. Work. Not the strongest. He will get muscled off the ball. but he'll cover the ground. He will cover the ground. And then we get our goal. Marcus Rashford, 75th minute. 1-2 with Bruno Fernandes. Muscled off the defenders. Let go of me. Get off me. Left the defender on the floor. Turn, right foot shot, smash. Great goal. When Rashford came on, he provided that over the top ball. That ball over the top, that release that we don't get with Martial. Because we get a different kind of release with Martial. With Martial, we get the ability to hold the ball up and bring others into play. With Rashford, we don't get that. With Rashford, we get, let's just kick the ball over the top and see if the kid can run and, stretch the teams. That only works, of course, if you have a high line. And as we know, many teams in the Premier League play with low block. So hence, many times I've said this, and many Man United fans who are intelligent enough to understand football. And I think to understand football, you have to be intelligent, because football is actually a thinking man's game. It's not a physical game where you run around and kick people. It's a very, very intelligent game. Rashford cannot play up front on his own because he cannot hold the ball up. He is getting better at some aspects of his game. He's using both feet to shoot. I see that he's heading the ball more than he's ever done before. And not only is he doing that, he's scored a few goals from his head, good goals from his head this season. So there are parts of his game where the kid is improving, and you have to be honest and say he is improving. You can't be biased. As much as I am a critic of Rashford, he has improved. 100% he has. So I'm good. It's good for him. He scored today. You can't just always be going on at Rashford negatively. Let's be positive about him and say he played well today. And if he keeps improving, there's no need to sell him. There's no give him a new contract, pay him his money. If he continues playing like this, I got no problems with Rashford, none at all. He'll be one of the main guys. But Rashford is very inconsistent, and that's always been his problem. And there will be other patches where he's not going to be playing well. What does that look like? I don't know. I'm just hoping that we have enough squad depth now, with Sancho coming back, for instance, that if Rashford does have a bad game, we can play someone like Sancho in his place. And that's the problem. Before, we never had replacements, and now we do. So, good goal by Rashford. Martial came off for Donny. Like I said, wrap Martial with cotton wool. We need this guy. He's the only striker that we have now at the club. He came off for Donny van der Beek. And then Rashford, funny enough, and it's something I need to talk to you guys or mention on this video, is Rashford's second goal now. Okay, let's talk about Rashford's second goal. Because if you're a defender, you're told to defend either with your hands behind your back or at least with your hands tucked into your body. So if your hands are like this and you're defending and someone shoots and the ball hits your hand while your hand is like this or tucked in like that, it's not a handball. It's not, because your body's tucked in. Your hands are tucked in. So how can it be a handball? It's only a handball if it strikes your hand and your hand's away from your body, right? That's when a handball is given. If you're attacking, yeah? And it strikes a defender. But if you're attacking and the ball strikes you, even if your hand is in like this, and it would have therefore hit your chest if your hand wasn't there, even if that happens, it's still a free kick. And there's an inconsistency in that rule. If I'm a striker and I shoot and you're a defender and it hits your hand while your hand's tucked in, I don't get given a penalty. But if the ball hits me and it's about to hit my chest, but it hits my hand, but my hand's still stuck into my chest, right? That is a free kick. That doesn't make any sense to me. Same action, different outcomes. Listen, if I'm wrong, let me know if I'm wrong, but to me, that doesn't make any sense. And I think, just like Ten Hag was irate, I think that should have been a goal. But, this is how we analyze things on this channel. We have to apply logic. And that's how I apply logic. I think same action. I think the goal should have stood. Simple as that. Anyway, we were under pressure. Last few minutes, Wolves came out and Wolves started to attack last 10, 15 minutes. And that stretched the game. The game was stretched, left loads of spaces, left loads of gaps for someone like Rashford to exploit. The game was open in the last 10 minutes. Fred picking up yellows, Casemiro's picking up yellows for last-ditch tackles. De Gea making last-minute saves from Jimenez. We literally held on last minute. Maguire came on, like I said, and then Lango came on, I think, for Bruno and Antony, I believe. So, I mean, the thing about the manager, Ten Hag, he's not afraid to play ugly. He's not afraid to, take some attackers on, take some attackers off, and put some defenders on to win the game. He's not afraid to make those sort of decisions. He usually makes a sub around the 60th minute mark, whereas Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would wait for a whole match and not make any subs. I remember us playing Seville in the Europa League final. He didn't make any subs in 90 minutes. We have a proper manager now, at least, who's willing to use the squad and use the squad effectively and make changes at important times, which is really, really good. Not a good game. We held out in the end, 1-0, but what a great, great win. Great win because even though Wolves are not a great team at the moment, it doesn't matter if we play a Nunes team or the current Wolves team. Whenever Manchester United play Wolves, we always find it hard. Wolves are a bogey team. We never play well against Wolves. And when we beat them, or if we beat them, it's always a narrow win. They sometimes beat us. So to win today, and the manner of how we won, even though it was not a good game to watch, guys, let's be honest. 1-0, no goals conceded, and we're now in the top 4. No good performance, but a good result. There you have it, guys. That was my breakthrough, my analysis, my thoughts on the game. Let's relax with Garnacho. As we can see today, he's still got a lot to learn. Writing songs, making songs, singing his name. I mean, knock yourself out, guys. You guys are Man United fans, but I just think we just need to stop being so reactionary when people score. And just take our time to assess and analyse things. Assess a player over a period of games to see how good he is. Let's not look at him after one game and call him the best player in the world. Not a good performance, but good result. I think we play again on Tuesday, I believe. We're now in the top 4. We just got to hope that the other teams start losing, start dropping some points, man, because we need it. But yeah, onwards and upwards. Have a good new year, guys. I hope you have a good new year indeed. And I hope this year is a good year for Manchester United. We're still in a Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Europa League, and I guess, fighting for top 4. So we're still in 3 or 4 competitions. Have a good new year, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe, and do all of these things. And I will see you next time. Love. Peace out. If you're not